All right. That was Wingtip Sloat with Anything Could Happen. And now with me, I've got the aforementioned Cody Brown on the phone with me. He's going to talk a little bit of the fall movie schedule and some of the movies he saw this past weekend. Cody, are you there?
I'm here, Jim.
Cody, it's great to have you on the show. I know you have a busy schedule because you're pretty popular. Would you consider yourself one of the top 5 popular movie reviewers out there right now?
Top 4. Top 4.
Top 4. Okay, sorry, I misspoke. And what publication do you currently work for?
The publication?
Yeah, or tell the people a little bit about yourself before we get into this today.
Sure. I've been watching movies since before I can remember, and I love watching them. And I'm going to the theater. They know my name when I go down there to the theater. You mentioned publications. I am. I've been published in Cat Fancier, and the dog equivalent one, which I can never remember the name of, but they're beautiful people there, and it's just a wonderful opportunity to go out to the movies. I love the movies, and you can love the movies too. You know.
Well, I do. I mean, I do love movies.
Good job, man. See, I knew it.
Well,
everyone loves movies.
Yeah, I was going to say most people do love movies, but lay it on us. What movies do you have to review for us today?
All right. Well, usually when I do my reviews, I like to see something current. And this weekend, as you know, open on Friday, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 opened up in the theaters.
Oh, okay. Well, now the first Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs was based off that famous children's book. It got some favorable reviews. I think it was kind of a fun time. What did they do in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 that we should know about?
Well, as you know, probably from the reviews of it on the TV, the previews kind of open it up for you. But really, what you get into is, as you know, from Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs 1. They kind of leave it off of a cliffhanger, and this is a continuation of that. It's about a racehorse that lives in a trailer park, and that horse wants nothing out of life but to win the previous year's Little Miss Comfort wife. But to the horse's dismay now, he's always, of course, 365 days late to the event, a full year after the event's passed. So they don't let him attend.
Well, if you're, and pardon me for being a stickler, if you're 365 days late to something, aren't you technically on time?
Jimmer.
Yeah.
I hate to. You have to. You can be 365 days, but they go off of. You have to think about. Time zones here.
Okay. All right. So what you're saying is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 is about a horse that lives in a trailer park that is always 1 year late to the race that it needs to run?
No, sir. No. He does do races. He is a race horse, but he wants to win Little Miss Comfort wipe. They have.
Okay, hold on one second. Are you saying Little Miss Comfort wipe?
Yes.
Okay, now what exactly does the movie explain that to be?
Little Miss Comfort wipe?
Yeah, what is that?
That would be the event. It's a beauty pageant for little ones, and they love to dance around, prance around. But it's sponsored by Comfort Wipe, the product they sell on the TV to help elderly people clean themselves in their nether regions.
Okay, all right, we don't need to go into that. So this horse lives in a trailer park Okay, anyway, so we don't really need to recap again. What was your overall impression of the movie, and what rating would you give it?
Well, like I said, I enjoyed the movie. It's a great movie. We're gonna jump into it, but I hate spoilers. I don't like when people spoil the movie. But it's no surprise that 7 minutes in, the horse's jockey donates his liver so that Flapjack may live.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
throw that out there.
Okay, so the jockey donates his horse his own liver.
Well, no, that's it's well, it's not really spoiler there because the real spoiler would be if I mentioned if you didn't find in the very end that Flapjack wasn't the name of the horse, it was the name of his sled.
Okay.
The jockey's sled.
Okay, that's all right. Well, that sounds. And what rating would you give the film?
I would say I would give this movie 9 stars.
9 stars out of how many?
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, Jimmer. It's 7 hours and 2 minutes long, and it's rated R for wonton violence and crab ragoon. I like the crab ragoon with the cream cheese in there.
Okay, and the 9 stars is out of how many?
I also watched Gone with the Wind.
Okay, all right. Don't seem to want to answer that. That's fine. We can move on. Okay, so you said so we're kind of throwing it back here a little bit. You watched Gone with the Wind, the classic, and what's your take on that?
It is a beautiful tale. I've heard many things about Gone with the Wind. It's one of those movies that I've wanted to watch for a long time and just never got the opportunity to because it was always rented out at the library. But I got it this weekend, and I got home, and I sat down, made myself some popcorn, and I got one of those slushy things from Walgreens that you could put the ice cubes in and shake it up and make your own slushy. It's beautiful. So I sit down, and as you know, Gone with the Wind, it's a harrowing tale of a purple dinosaur. He's in search for the truth, you see. But he gets mixed up. He's a crazy dinosaur. He gets mixed up in with the wrong crowd and starts working for the mob, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
He starts working for the mob?
Yeah.
Now, is he like Barney? Is it Barney? Because I've never seen Gone with the Wind either.
Yeah. Well, they refer to him several times as Barney, but when he's in the mob, he goes by a code name.
What's the code name?
Princess.
Princess. Okay. And so, all right. And that's not what I thought this movie was about all the time, this whole time. And we're talking about the movie from, I think it came out in the 40s.
I don't have the box is somewhere in the bathroom. I think I took it in the bathroom with me, so I'll have to go get it. But yeah, that's what the movie's about. I watched the whole thing, and yeah, he goes by Princess. You know the famous line from the movie, "Play that banjo, play that banjo."
Okay, yeah, no, I don't remember that line from the movie. I think maybe there, yeah. So the famous line from Gone with the Wind, you're saying, is "play that banjo."
Play that banjo. He says it twice.
Well, okay, so he says, "Play that banjo, play that banjo." And what point in the movie does that come in?
That comes right after they have the race car scene, and they run out of jet fuel, and so he rolls out. He pushes the passenger out. He was picking up people like a taxi, and he pushes him out, and the person rolls because stop, drop, and roll. He was not on fire though, and so he got up. He comes back and he says, "Are you okay? Because I didn't want to hurt you." And that's they get really close to the guy's face, and you can see a little tear starting to form in his eye, and that's when he says it. He says, "Play the banjo, play the banjo," and then he drives off.
Okay, All right. Well, so what rating would you give Gone with the Wind then?
Oh, I would give it 9 stars.
Out of how many? Now, how many stars is that out of?
Well, you see, in this tale, he's a little wet behind the ears, though. See, I mentioned the car scene. He's there, but he's a little wet behind the ears. You see, so he ends up in the ER because he nearly drowns to death.
The car?
Huh?
The car nearly drowns to death?
No, the purple dinosaur.
Okay. Okay, so that one gets 9 stars. Let's move on. Do you have any other movie reviews to share with us?
Well, I did watch a couple other films, but I didn't really have anything prepared formally, but I could tell you about them.
Well, sure. Why don't you tell us about a couple of them? What's the first one? Now, are these ones you're in the process of doing reviews for?
Well, like I said, I love watching the movies, and so on the weekends, during the week, and sometimes even between the weekend and the week, during that transitional period, I'll watch movies.
Okay.
I enjoy doing that.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, so what's another movie that you watched recently that you think is worth telling us about?
Well, after watching Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, I got thinking I should probably watch some of the prequels to that film. So I rented Meatballs.
Oh, okay.
Meatballs, and
the comedy.
Well, it depends on your definition of comedy. It has a darker tale when it starts off. It's like the Star Wars movies.
Okay.
So it's about this man who grows up on a farm, and he has lots of children that he keeps in a bunker underneath his house.
Okay. That's what this is. You're talking about Meatballs, but not the Bill Murray Meatballs. This Meatballs is the prequel to Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Yeah, well, they call it just Meatballs. It's not Meatballs 2. They had that too, but this is just Meatballs. And so I got this movie, and I would give it 9 stars. It was a beautiful film. It was in color. And I enjoyed it very much.
9 stars out of how many is that?
It runs. It was. I believe now. I had to check, but I think it was about 7 minutes long. 7 minutes and 23 seconds. Roughly. It was rated Q.
Q. Now that's not one you run across very often. What does Q stand for?
Q. It's the rating before R. So it didn't quite get the R rating, but they figured they'd just give it the Q rating. I give it 9 stars there.
Okay. Well, you don't see that one very often. And any other movies you'd like to either recommend or review for us?
Yes. There are some films that I recommend highly for children. Like I said, I was expecting Meatballs to be a good movie for the kids, based on what I saw in the theater this weekend. But one movie that really stuck out that I saw this weekend was Porky's. I watched Porky's, and I would highly recommend children everywhere go see this film. This is a beautiful cinematography. It's full of wonderment and joy, and it's just a beautiful film.
Okay, and what's that one about?
Porky's is about it's a little alien boy, and he comes in a little basket, and that basket has lights on it, so he can see where it goes because he's a blind alien. So he bumps into things and runs into a little child who is also blind. But so he talks to him about his lights on his basket,
right?
And so they try to talk about it, but it's really hard to explain because none of them know what color it is. So the whole movie is them going through these areas of these very untrustworthy people, asking what color the lights are on the alien's basket. But as it turns out, they're in a military complex at the same time. So
Of course they are.
sure they don't get, they have to make sure that they don't get the alien caught. So he dressed. It's a fun, happy time film called Porky's, and they made a sequel too. I'm anxious to see that, but they have to dress him up, and the whole thing is it's a lot of slapstick and such, but it's a beautiful film. It really draws a tear to your eye seeing it's the beautiful connection these two actors have. I try to look for the alien in other films. For some reason, even though the movie is entirely based on him, I am not finding anything except for Porky's 2 that has this actor in it. It's just amazing to me that he just did these two films now. Is it? But oh yes.
And what sort of rating would you give that one?
Ooh, I would probably give this one a 9-star. It's a 9-star for sure.
Out of how many stars is that?
All 9 of those stars, I would give it, Jimmy.
All right. Well, on the phone with me, I have Cody Brown, and I'd like to thank you. I know you've got a busy schedule. He's the main movie reviewer for Cat Fancy and Dog Fancy.
Dog Fancy, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, magazines, and I would like to thank you for sharing a little bit of your time today and giving us some fine movie recommendations.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I enjoy it. Everybody go out and see some movies. I know you're not supposed to tell people what to do.
Right.
But go out and see some movies. Get your children to watch Porky's. It is just a cute little tale.
I think
Sit down, get some popcorn and watch that film. You'll cry, you'll laugh, and you'll roll around in peanut butter.
All right. Well, I think that's a pretty good idea, Cody. All right?
Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, hey, you know what? It just is kind of a treat for the listeners. Why don't you, right before we go into the song, why don't you segue it by giving us your famous line that you always say when you're done with a review?
Oh, okay. You ready for it?
I sure am. And then we're going to go right into the song, just so you know.
Okay. Here we go. Go watch some movies, dang it!